sector is doing.
For once, I want to be really positive. I'm actually very positive about this whole group of amendments because I think that more transparency is essential in what we're discussing. So I just wanted to very quickly say that I especially like Amendment 165 by Noble Lord Stevenson of Belmarcara because it's around user-to-user services, terms of service, ensures information can be sought on the scope as well as the application. But I think this is so important because so much is being put on user-to-user services and actually on terms of service. You just need to know what's going on. I wanted to particularly compliment the Amendment 229 that says that transparency reports are of a sufficient quality to enable service users and researchers to make informed judgments, etc., etc. I thought that this was a very elegant way of saying they shouldn't be gobbledygook, i.e., if we're going to have them, they should be clear and of quality that you can read. And I say that because obviously you just don't want to have them there unreadable, full of jargon, full of legalistic ways. So I'm hoping that that's what that requires. I'm positive because I suppose I've been worried that so much depends on terms of service and how that can lead to the over-removal of content. And because, as we discussed the other day, there is no individual complaints mechanism outside of the, in terms of Ofcom, as we were talking about. So I'm just grasping around for ways that users to have some right of redress. And I think understanding why something's been taken down is very important. The other point, and actually the Noble Lord Alan of Hallam has said this, so much is hidden from users. So, for example, people will constantly say, my material has been deboosted, and it might well have been. They'll say things like, the algorithms are hiding content, even if it's not removing it. I'm saying that because I've noticed that people can get very paranoid and it can fuel conspiracy theories, because what you get is people saying, nobody has retweeted my tweet, this is a deboosting algorithm, and actually they haven't retweeted it because it was boring. But nonetheless, if you could kind of see a bit more clearly what the policies were, instead of it feeling as though it's hidden from your view, then I think that we would do something to lessen the paranoia and that kind of accusation. The only thing I would sort of, my only sort of caveat on that is that Lord Allen said about, the bad guys are banned, but if they're banned, then they might emerge somewhere else. But I think we also need to recognise that sometimes people who are called the bad guys can be banned, and they aren't the bad guys, and they need to be able to say, we're not the bad guys, and they need to be able to go back and say, you've suggested, and so that's why the more detail the better. Only other caveat is that I don't want to be in a situation where we're demanding endless regulatory complexity and reports and the imposition of making life absolutely impossible for the services in terms of red tape and paperwork. That's my only caveat, but generally speaking, very positive about these amendments, and I hope by report stage they actually just become, one way or another, part of the bill.